Boom. Hey, listen, you're back and we're back. It's the Mack and Mula Show. We on episode 5. And today we have a special guest. We got the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Sam Sparks in the building.
Appreciate you.
Right? Now we have a lot of different things that we're gonna cover today, from mindset to growth to your journey, his journey, and how that might apply to your journey and what you can take away from this. But before we get into all that, I wanna introduce my dog, especially. So I got a little thing prepared that I'm gonna actually read. Is that okay?
Wow.
Please. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
Shout out.
reading around?
Hey, shout out to my second grade spelling teacher. She'd be proud. Anyway, so Sam is a fashion stylist, motivational speaker, author, and life coach. His journey has led him to work closely with international icon, comedian, TV host, and philanthropist Steve Harvey. As a stylist, he's contributed to Steve Harvey's image, gaining recognition in the fashion and entertainment industry. As CEO of his own brand, Legacy Living, Sam has traveled the U.S., speaking at corporations, universities, and community organizations. His book, my dog is an author now,
Facts.
Legacy Living, reflects his commitment to personal growth and purpose. Against all odds, Sam Sparks has built a life of impact, proving that transformation is possible for anyone willing to chase it. So, Sam, from me and Kesh, we'd like to welcome you to the Mack and Mula podcast, my brother.
Appreciate you,
Yeah,
son.
for sure.
That deserves a little round of applause.
Hey, look, y'all made me feel like I'm somebody.
You are somebody. Hey, you somebody. Hey, you somebody to us.
Y'all made me feel like I'm
you are
somebody.
somebody.
We
You
took
are
some time
somebody.
to make sure that we introduce you the correct way, because for us, it's always important on this show,
Yeah.
and for our viewers to know that we only mess with upper echelon
Yeah.
type people.
Yes, sir.
And, I'm going to let you get into that, but, congratulations on all the success
I appreciate
you've
it,
been
man.
having and where you've been able to get in this lifetime.
I appreciate it, man. I'm blessed to be even sitting with you guys.
Appreciate
bro.
that.
It's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
And then from the time that I walked in, for every listener that needs to know, you're not gonna come here and don't get the best of everything.
Appreciate you saying
from
that.
the entry to now, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all for having me. The intro was crazy.
And I left out a whole lot. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you own like 10 coffee shops, soon to be 100. I'm pretty sure, you got your own podcast.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
pretty
sir.
sure you used to be in the music industry as well.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm pretty sure you're a leader. I'm pretty sure people, a mentor.
Yes, sir.
So I couldn't read it all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
You read
so
enough.
thank you.
You read enough.
Appreciate
you read
that.
Enough. You read
Yeah.
enough.
So Sam,
No
listen.
gloating about me.
So listen, we hear one of your mantras is, if you're not gonna make sense of your life, then why live life?
Talk about it.
So tell us what that, break that down for us, unpack that.
Say it again.
If you're not gonna make sense of your life,
Stop.
thank you, then stop.
Simple.
Said enough.
Simple.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Damn, kill yourself.
Listen, the new book, quick drop.
Shameless plug.
We'll make sure we put it.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
The new book, I love coming here because now I'm dropping, you know what I'm saying, what I wasn't going to talk about.
Hey man, we here for
Y'all
you,
guys,
man. We trying to give you a commercial, brother.
But check this out. The new book, to your point, the new book is 50 ways to cut off your arms and hands to save. Excuse me. It's
You gotta
50
say that fast, cause I'm like,
It's 50 ways to cut
I
off
need
your
these.
fingers and your hands to save your arms.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So basically what that means is if you cut off one hand, it's impossible to cut off the second hand, right?
Okay.
So why would you make your life impossible,
Yeah.
right?
That's big.
Just basically to what you said. Why do anything without making sense?
100%.
So every day that you get up, you should be intentional about every second of your life.
100%. And
Every aspect.
that's easier said than done.
It is.
But I think a lot of people, they just underestimate what's possible for themselves. A lot of little steps, over time turn into big steps.
Facts.
So I'm feeling everything you're saying right there.
Let me say this too, Don, to your point. It's not as, it's easy to say, than done.
100%.
Because this why. Even us getting to this point, right, of pulling up to the podcast, we knew what we was expecting, the whole 9 yards. It was small decisions that played into this major
100%.
picture,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
It's not hard to make the decisions that you want out of life.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And oftentimes that's what we do. We create unnecessary problems.
100%.
You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say,
Yeah.
wake up and be intentional about every second of your life.
Another little trick to that I found is we call it disconnecting from the outcome.
Talk, bro.
So what a lot of people do is, they're thinking like, man, I really need to make X, Y, and Z happen. And they think about the fact that hasn't happened yet, so they feel not great. And they demoralize themselves to the point where they don't even want to keep moving. So what I found is a little trick, at least for myself, and I know it's what all successful people tend to do, is we just worry about, instead of worrying about building the wall, how about you just worry about the one brick at a time, right? You know what I'm saying? So before you know it, if you just focus on setting each brick to the best of your ability and the best that it could have been set, you do that over time, and before you know it, you're gonna look up and you're gonna see a big ass castle.
Talk about it.
Exactly. So you gotta disconnect from the outcome. So, and really what that is having faith, right? So like, I am faithful that if I get up, I give it my all, and that whatever I endeavor upon, it's gonna come to fruition. And even if it's not, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because even if I gotta take an L right now, every W I've ever experienced, if I didn't take those L's, I never would have experienced that W.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
1000%.
I'm not trying to take it over. You are a special guest right now. But
No.
I just want to kind of add to the conversation, because I think a lot of people need to know that you're a lot more powerful than you're giving yourself credit for. And if you just look at the ending, you know what I mean? My dog pulled up heavy. Was it double R or something?
Hey, listen.
Rolls Royce or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're a Lambo too, right?
Is that a Lambo?
Okay.
Is that a lie? I was just joking. I mean, you might see the Mack and Mula Show, and you might.
He's in the Green Goblin.
It's the Green
And
Goblin.
the Green Goblin,
right outside, right now.
But a lot of people need to know that for as long as I can remember, I had no idea how I would ever make anything like that possible. But I did have on my screensaver a red Lamborghini, right? Like for years and years and years. And I used to tell people, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna make $1 million. I could tell a whole story about this. I had a whole, I used to work for a company, and I can recall having a sales meeting with my team. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm gonna make $1 million. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I promise you I'm gonna make $1 million.
You telling this to somebody you work for?
I was telling this to my staff, and you know what ended up happening? They got like weird about that. Like they was like, this nigga always talking about big, and just turned into some haters, right?
Yeah.
But fast forward, the lamb, I didn't need to know how it happened, but I could buy a decent amount of them if I needed to right now. And that's not flexing, because all glory goes to the Most High, exactly, because that's just what it is and what it ain't.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to
I love it.
back to our scheduled programming.
Yeah, I love it.
You're a Chicago native.
1000%.
We understand that you've overcame a lot to get to where you are right now, although we know that you're going to soar to even higher heights than you're currently at. You could probably tell us about, maybe you had close encounters and near imprisonment almost.
Yeah.
And you've changed your life. You've transformed into the person that you are now.
Yeah.
Now, how did you go from that, to becoming a leader, inspiring, and being an inspiration to others?
That's is an amazing question. But let me say it like this. At a very early age, I knew who I wanted to be, and I knew who I was. I just didn't have the roadmap to get there.
Yeah.
Right? I had the objective of this guy today, but just didn't see that it could be possible.
Right.
So I made decisions predicated to the timing that I was in, right? I was selling drugs, I was in the streets, and at that time, that mindset I had, that was the only thing that I had to offer my mother was kids. Check this out.
Wow.
So I had my 18-year-old now when I was 15 years old. I'm a father of four. About
Congratulations.
4 different women.
Congratulations.
Oh, blessings, bro.
Yeah, congratulations.
God's gifts.
Yeah, yeah.
Like God's true gifts. And it's not how it's birthed, but it's what you do when it's birthed.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Who say that again? Like, can we hear that one?
How it's birthed is what you do when it's birthed.
I'm gonna need to write that down.
So
mental note.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
not too worthy.
so
It's not how you.
so I watched God allow gifts to be birthed in my issues and my problems.
Yeah.
But these gifts would be the gifts that saved my life and changed my whole perspective of living, right? Or give me more to becoming the man that God showed me that I could possibly be.
Yeah, yeah.
But selling drugs, having women, I was a liar, manipulator, womanizer, cheater, deceiver.
Yeah. Speak on it.
I was everything possible other than the man that I sit in today.
Yeah.
But what made the change happen was, this is funny, God said to me, and I'm a thug all day,
Yeah.
but God had showed me, like, you can have what you want at a certain limit. So I'm gonna bless you at a limit because I made you Sam Sparks. So let me say it like this. I'm gonna give you everything to a certain aspect because I can't contradict who I am. I can't contradict God. I am God. So if I made you who I am, who you are, I'm gonna put you in that aspect. But until you do as I say, you won't reap the full reward of it.
Yeah.
So basically, you could come around the table, but you won't sit at the table.
Until you're doing everything by the book.
Bingo. Meaning, oftentimes people come around the table and they never sit at the table. They just get crumbs that fall away from the table.
Yeah.
Right? But God said, before I can get you to the table and sit you at the table, where you are getting a full plate, and then not only being able to get a full plate, but to be able to pass it on as well, you have to change certain things. So those things of the womanizing, the cheating, the lying, the manipulating, the all that shit that stopped me from being the man that I'm sitting in the seat today, it always made me think that I wasn't even worthy to sit here.
Yeah. 100%.
But it was the actions that I was creating and doing that created the feeling that I wasn't worthy.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
It's beautiful.
So the
I
transition.
can relate to a lot.
You said so much
that
right
you're
there.
saying, because honestly, sorry for interruption.
No, bro.
I feel like I'm in there right now in my life.
Yeah.
You know, just going through what I'm going through right now, I've been making a lot of changes myself. You know, I quit smoking weed about 4 months ago.
Facts. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Big congratulations.
I appreciate that.
That's congratulations.
And you know, it's been my family, friends that I consider family, that have been helping me, and God too have talked through my dreams and really just tell me, like, you have two ways you can go about it. You can go the right, you can go the left. You decide what you want to do. You can have a life that's filled with it's gloomy. That you're living in regret. You're seeing what could have been. Or you can live a life that's organized. Everything's in place. Family's happy, and you can get what you want to get. But you have to live according to the message, according to what I'm putting out there, because that's how you get the full blessing. So when you were saying that, I really resonated with that. It touched me in a different spot, because I feel like that's such a powerful message. You know, nowadays there's so much temptation out there. We're fighting with so many demons out there that sometimes we might lose. You know, because we're not too connected with God, or we don't have good people around us. And I feel like where we're at now, and I feel extremely blessed about that. I've been able to fight against my demons. I've been able to get closer to God, become a happier person, a more grateful person, and start really getting into who Kesh Mula is really supposed to be. You know, and I turned 30 this year.
Okay.
June
Feliz cumpleaños.
June 27th.
That's Spanish for all y'all non-bilingual.
Talk to me, because I ain't know what.
That's all right. I got to train later. That's me.
And so just going off of what you're saying, I really respect what you're saying, because I'm going through that myself.
Let me help you before you.
Go ahead.
Just to this point, so I don't forget this. Not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
The Bible says that God warns you in dreams.
100%.
1,000%.
Wow.
Now listen, the warning is not always a bad warning. The warning is the warning to tell you that this is where I'm taking you to. Now, predicated on your present decision making will either hinder you from going there or take you there.
100%.
So with Steve Harvey, and I know we probably was gonna talk about this, but when I became the stylist to Steve Harvey, that put me in a position of wealth, I was homeless. I had 4 children.
Speak on it.
I was a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I was in transitioning, coming from selling drugs and letting go drugs.
Wow.
Because God told me, like, I need you to let go everything so that I could get your full attention.
Yeah.
But what was around me, like the roses and the cars and the clothes and all, that was gotten way before I got it the right way.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
I got it the wrong way. So God showed me for 6 years, bro, Steve Harvey was gonna fix my suit in a dream.
Really?
Check this. When he fixed my suit, the minute he fixed my suit, I always woke up. I never was able to see the other part of the dream. Check this out. I go to Steve Harvey show one day. I'm homeless. But this crazy. I was homeless, but I was in the most peaceful space.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like that. All those.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, I don't want to do. I don't want to continue.
You know, I was in the most peaceful space, right? So check this. I go to the show one day. The producer see how I'm dressed. I'm suited and booted. Normally like I am.
Yeah.
I'm suited and booted, bro.
100%.
The producer say,
That's not to cut you off, but that's nigga. You homeless coming like that? That's just you. That's just you.
I
It ain't
didn't
in
look
you.
like my
It
present
ain't on you. It's in you.
circumstance.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't look like my present
Yeah, yeah.
circumstance. I didn't look like my situation.
Right.
Like we look now.
Now, normally, for our audience out there, normally you're gonna see Sam Sparks, 3-piece, 8-piece, 12-piece suit, custom tailored to the centidecimeter. Okay, so that's why you see us wearing. You see me with the turtle.
Yeah, they
I brought
switched it up
I brought
over
the
there.
turdy,
Yeah.
and he brought the I don't even want to know what you want to call this fresh concoction
I'll
right
help you
here.
out with that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you call the single breast.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
a
you, Sam.
single breast.
Thank you, Sam.
You know what I'm saying? That's
White
what
man
you
and
would
shit.
call a cocktail suit.
And we're gonna have some cocktails. too.
Now
yeah. We're gonna have some.
Now we know.
That's what you would call a cocktail
Yeah,
suit.
yeah.
You hear me?
Well, please continue. Please. So
please
you get
continue.
you get to the show. You're suited.
So I
and
get to
booted.
the show. I'm suited and booted. The producer sits me on the front row. Harv comes out. As we sitting right here, just say the stage is a little further than the wall right there.
Yeah.
Bro, the man comes out. You could see and smell the aura and
Yeah,
the
he
had.
excellence.
He brought an ambiance.
The
That's crazy.
ambiance.
Presence.
I'm talking about, bro, the light was shining on him.
Yeah.
And I ain't even saying that just to be saying
gonna
it,
get there.
bro. Like, it's crazy. So check this out. The producer asked me, the producer asked the audience, they can ask questions to Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey says, hey, the lady said, why you don't teach young men how to style women? How to court women. Steve Harvey makes a joke and say, I'm rich. I don't have no time to be, you know what I'm saying? Looks over to me and say, but this little guy look like he know what he doing. Stand up. At the time, suit note, tip, everything lines up on your left-hand side. As a man, everything lines up on your left-hand side. That's why your pocket square is on your left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
All right? Anytime you're gonna do like lapel or anything like that that goes on your lapel, it lines up on your left-hand side.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know this. Steve Harvey, I had it on my right-hand side. He came walking up to me, put it on my left-hand side. This is the dream. Him fixing the suit.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Wow.
This is the dream, bro. So as he's fixing the suit, I'm not even paying attention that this the dream because I'm in the moment.
Right.
He say, what you do for a living? Obedience, obedience, obedience. I was afraid to say this, but my spirit said, say this, say this, say this. He said, what you do for a living? I say, style you.
Speak it.
First time meeting any of that, I style you for a living. Nigga said, you sure do? Told Will, hey Will, at the time this was his stylist. His name was Will Phoenix. Shout out to Will Phoenix.
Shout out Will.
Wow.
At the time Will Phoenix was his stylist, he said, hey Will, come here. They come from the back. He said, hey, give him my card. He gives him my card. I take his card. We sit down. Show starts back. They say action. I sit down like, oh shit, this feel like deja vu.
Yeah.
I said, no, this ain't deja vu.
Yeah.
This the fucking dream. So
That is
now
absolutely insane.
I'm worshiping, bro, and crying, but I'm not like, oh my God. I'm just sitting there like, shit's
Taking it all in.
crazy,
Taking
you know
it
what
all
I'm
in.
Yeah.
So check this. He stops the show. Dead in the middle of the action. Hold on, cut. Hey, what's your name? Meanwhile, I'm in a dream, like this shit is crazy, I'm crying. So on some lame shit, I'm Sam Sparks on some crash shit, right?
Oh, wow.
The audience, thinking that I'm excited about meeting Steve Harvey. But really, I'm caught up that this is actually the fucking dream.
Yeah.
In reality. Next thing you know, he gets off the set, he grabs me by the collar of my shirt, picks me up to him, pull me close to him, give me a hug. The hug felt like 15 minutes, that shit was 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
100%.
But he whispered some powerful words in my ear, bro, that I remember to this day. He said, I understand the journey. From this moment on, I'm gonna be your mentor and you're gonna be my mentee. My life changed the next day.
My goodness.
I went from homeless to staying in a penthouse.
Just like that.
Man, I want to say something. One, I feel blessed to be in the middle right now. You know what I mean? They say a lot of things, but one of them is, you're the sum of the 5 people that are closest to you. Here at the Mack and Mula Show, what we strive to be is we strive to be that for you. If you look at us, we only have guests on, and we strive to be the type of people who, if we were one of your 5 people, you're gonna feel an increase by being around us. And by me being in the middle right now, I feel increase, right? You said a lot of things that really resonated with me as well. You said a whole lot of things that should resonate with everybody right now. One of the things
that's a beautiful story too. Thank you for
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful story. And I love how all of those things that you were tested with became your testimony.
Facts.
And you're able to come and share that right now. One of the things I heard you say that stood out to me was, you were just telling a story. You said, I watched God, I think you said I watched God fill in the blank. You said a lot of things I don't recall. However, the reason that stood out to me is you said, I watched God. I saw something taking place in my life and I viewed that as God, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is like the things that are transpiring in your life, these are messages to you.
That's good.
You have to listen to the feedback. We go out and we do things or we don't do things and life gives us feedback that it's kind of like the GPS was saying like turn left, turn right. Well, that is God telling you. A lot of people say, I don't know what to do, but if they're really honest with themselves, you know exactly what to do. You've been going backwards, you've been avoiding, you've been going the opposite direction because it's a little uncomfortable, but we're here to tell you that the things that are uncomfortable for you become comfortable as you start to do them. Everything that's hard, it becomes easier after you've done it 10 or 20 times or whatever. But
you gotta stay consistent.
You gotta stay consistent. But another thing that really resonated with me is you said that God would show you the table, but you couldn't actually sit at the table because you weren't really ready yet.
Yeah.
And I kind of view God the same way I would assume that you do as a father.
Oh,
right?
Abba.
I wouldn't go give my son who's 12 years old the keys to the Lambo.
Talk, bro.
Right? I don't want him to crash. Not just because I care about the car. It's because I care about my son. I'm not going to put him in a position that's going to hurt him. Right? So what a lot of people are doing is they're looking at the finish line, they're looking at where someone else is, they're looking at the highlight reel that is social media and going, man, I'm not there yet. The truth be told, if God puts you where that person is right now, or at least where you perceive that person to be, you will crash out. You would totally fail. It may be the end of you. We need to realize that where we are is where we're supposed to be. What you have is what you deserve to have. And and I promise you, you could have much more, but you have to give yourself time to become more, right? So essentially, I'm sure I could lift 300 pounds, but I'm sure it would tear my muscles apart to try right now, right? But over time, I can build up to that, and so can you. So again, like I said, I'm really feeling blessed to be in this circle right here. So I wanted to say so. We know, speaking of the Steve Harvey situation, we know Steve Harvey from the shows, you know what I mean? We know him from the TV.
There's very, he's a very, seems to be an outgoing type of guy and charismatic.
Yeah.
You having that relationship with him.
Yeah.
What can you say, what type of guy Steve Harvey is from what you've gotten so far?
All right. It's a great question.
Appreciate
right?
it.
And the reason why this is a great question is because oftentimes people see him in the light of camera,
Yeah.
right? But Harv is a phenomenal guy, bro. Like, it's one thing to have money, but it's another thing to have money with an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's different.
Extremely, right? I've watched Harv do things without cameras being around, right?
100%.
Watch this, man. I'll give you a story. This will tell you how he is. Very quick, short story. We driving, and we're going to go pick up a truck for his son. They just had a new baby. He goes in the car lot. He's going to go buy the truck for his son. He asks. They picking out the truck. He hears a young lady get declined or need a co-signer for the car. Harv tells the salesman, upgrade the car to the best car. She don't need a co-signer. He buys the car and then put 3 to 6 months of her insurance up.
Wow.
This what took it away from me.
Wow.
So took it away from me. The girl said, can I take a picture with you? He said, no. He said, I don't want you to take a picture with me because what I don't want you to do is think that I did this. I want you to know that God did this. It's not Steve Harvey that did this. God told Steve Harvey to walk in at this particular time.
That's
and
powerful.
told me to do this right now. So when you look at the car, I don't want you to go to the picture. When you look at the car, I want you to look up.
Yeah.
When I saw him do that, that told me everything.
You didn't
even taking a cat like me.
100%.
That he didn't know if I could style. I was my client. I was my representation. And he took the representation of how I presented myself and said, hey, yeah, he could run with me.
My gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you talk about Steve Harvey, you're not talking about a man on the TV. You're talking about someone that is choosing to do outside of his will.
Which is big time. Especially at the level and the height that he's at. You know what I mean? Like,
Come on, bro.
He doesn't have to do none of those stuff if he didn't really want to.
And to that point, this is the reason why I tell God, thank you for allowing me to enter the industry with him. Because I entered the industry on two different platforms. I entered it in a music aspect.
Yep, the entertainment.
Seeing it in the aspect of the entertainment. And then I saw it from an aspect where a lot of people don't know Harv is a billionaire. You get what I'm saying? That guy's a real billionaire.
That's why I didn't know that.
But he bankrupt 6 times as a millionaire, as a multimillionaire. So when you sit with this guy, and you learn so much information. And I watch God bless me to be in the circle, to sit with this guy and learn and hear all the things before he even let me see my $1 million.
Yeah.
So when I first made $1 million and they took that 300, 400,000 from me, I was already prepared for that.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Of course.
Because it was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be a millionaire after I touch this million.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam come getting 300, 400. So I know now they're gonna take 300, 400. I have to take this 600, 700 that I have left over and actually go make it 2 million.
To actually get that.
To actually stay a millionaire.
Yeah, 100%.
You get what I'm saying?
Which is crazy.
So again, you cannot, this is to my point what I said before, God allow you to come around the table first. But before you know who you are and become obedient to who God tell you that you are, you will not sit at the table yet.
Yeah, I want to just say a couple things, which is, I noticed that, or what I would like the audience to make sure they notice is that you are humble enough to make sure that you're in the seat of a learner, right? Like some people are going to want to say, man, well, he was lucky. He got around Steve Harvey. Well, you're lucky too, and you got all kind of opportunities that you're not seizing and you're not taking full advantage of. They may seem small, but things that start small can turn into things that become big. Another thing that you had said that really resonated with me about Steve is how he's trying to instill God in everything, right? So there's a quote that it reminded me of if you knew who walked with you on anything that you endeavor upon,
Talk, bro.
you would never feel fear or doubt again.
Talk.
So he's not viewing things like, and neither are you, because you've already said things that show me that. He's not viewing things like, hey, I'm this great because of me. Oh, I created the Mack and Mula Show by myself. Life is filled with too much pressure for me to handle it by myself.
Talk.
I'm talking about me.
Talk.
So I have to look at things like, it's not just me. I have to detach from the outcome. I have to feel, for me, I have to feel like if things don't work out, it's because God has protected me. He's a good father,
Austin.
right?
Yep.
And that if I just do my best, and with good intentions to harm nobody, that everything is going to work out. And anything that I've dreamt of, or that is a vision for me, or that I can imagine for myself, it's not from myself. So it's totally not possible. It's totally probable. I just got to stay in the game. That's a big key to success, is just continue to show up. I don't feel like showing up, but just continue to show up.
Yes,
sometimes you just feel like you're a little fearful, but you got to know what? Having courage is not the absence of fear. It's showing up anyway, right? And those things that, the boogeyman was scary when I was a kid, but now I know it ain't nothing in the closet.
No, talk about
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's just one foot in front of the other. I mean, things are intimidating. We put people on pedestals, but I promise you that God is on the highest echelon of every pedestal. And if you're not alone, and you were actually made in God's image, and I believe that you were, you're not alone, and you can do it.
Facts.
Okay? But it's just
100%.
one little baby step at a time.
5,000%.
You know what I mean?
No, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Because that's exactly the type of message that we give out on the Mack and Mula Show.
100%.
I
feel like we dropping.
It's a blessing to have you on the show, Sam. It's a blessing to have you.
100%.
I feel like we don't know you, but I know you.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like your energy speaks volumes for itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when I first seen you, your smile that you have, and the way that I shook your hand, I could feel the energy through that. And I really appreciate that, and I'm glad the first time I was meeting is to be able to have this podcast and talk about all these things.
For sure.
So that our relationship can grow.
Because
Because I know something like this, people like this, can make something huge.
100%.
Can change a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Change a lot of lives. To the viewers out there, this is history in the making.
Yeah.
This is history in the making, and I just feel grateful for all that.
I don't know if y'all know. I don't think y'all understand what y'all have yet.
We probably don't.
Yeah, I don't think y'all understand.
We probably
yet.
don't.
Yeah, I think y'all only. It's great to see y'all be unaware.
Yeah. That must be how God feels, right?
That's how you feel.
Yeah.
Truly, that's how you feel. Spiritually speaking, bro.
Yeah.
It's so great to see that y'all unaware, because y'all will become cocky if y'all knew what God was about to do.
Maybe, but that'd be our downfall.
Like always, everybody's downfall. But
Uh-huh.
this is the point about the dream. This one,
Yeah.
God wouldn't let me see it until I actually was able to really see it.
Yeah.
If He would have showed me a long time ago that nigga, I'm about to take you here, bro, I knew what I would. I was already a mess.
Yeah.
So anything, and this is the problem too, bro. Oftentimes, we pray for things we don't have the capacity for. So even in my book, again, shameless plug, right? Okay.
Don't be ashamed here.
Make sure y'all go get that.
50 ways to cut off your hands and your fingers to save your arms. One of the things I said in there, the book is a workbook. It's not a book, it's a
That's
workbook,
dope.
right? So it's 50 sentences that tells you how to stop doing something. 50 sentences are like a statement.
Okay.
Then you got how to avoid it. Then you got a biblical, relatable connection to it.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
That tell you biblically how to fix this. And then I give you a relatable story. And then I give you a challenge or a call to action.
Okay.
So one of the things I said, I think this is like 50, 51 or something like that, 52 or something like that. But I said, stop praying for things that you won't pursue. God don't want to hear that. but to your point of what you was just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Where we at now, like y'all transitions, right? And even in my transition, right? I learned faith through relationship. We get so caught up in religion, but God is not an object. He comes through things.
Speak on it.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to see God in His fullest by actually taking time to know God,
Yeah.
right? The Bible says, I know your name, but for you to know my name is to be obedient to me. So
Biggest thing.
we hear God because it's a natural word, natural name. Everybody talk about God. It's cliche. But to be in relationship with God is to be a renewal. You living in a different atmosphere, a
100%.
different perspective, right? So just where we at right now, you drive a Lamborghini, you probably got something crazy. I don't know what you got outside yet. I know what God is blessing me with. Those things are our choices. But that is not God's choices. Those are our choices.
Definitely.
So when it comes to actual living life with a materialistic thing, the world comes so consumed into that where we think life is about that. But life is at peace when you are in obedience with God, because
Majorly.
just like you are right now, bro, in your transition is tearing off the old, restoring the new, right? Bringing out the new.
Exactly what it is.
I mean, 100,000%. And don't think that this is probably the only transition that you are aware of, meaning, because this is how you know where you are at in life. And you could, let me ask y'all this question. Do you know how to really tell time in life?
I'm interested to see where you go with it.
I mean, do I know how to really? Not really.
Not by looking at a clock, but actually really telling time in life.
Nah, I'm thinking for me it's just going.
I'm so glad you was honest about that.
I'm just trying to be as honest as I can.
Because people will try to come up with the right answer.
Yeah.
All right? Honestly, understanding time in life is being aware where you are at in life. So right now, how you paying attention and seeing like, I feel this, I'm going through a transition, God is changing me, you're really now telling time.
I am.
This is how you actually control time and not time control you. You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying.
So
You might need to unpack that a little bit. Because I understand what you mean by that.
yeah,
And he understands what you mean by that. But I don't think everybody's going to
the
understand.
listeners, right? So
Yeah.
when I say that to say like, sometimes you have to take a step back and actually look at where you are at. Right? We are so much on the go, especially men, because we are the creators. We're the path. If you real men and you're doing something,
Providers.
you're always on a constant move. And sometimes God will, the reason why he created pain is to slow us up. Because if men don't feel things, we'll keep going. Pain slow us down,
Yeah.
right? Pain also open up the reality of transition, right? When God really wants your attention, he'll take you through pain.
Wow.
And he'll take you through pain because he'll make you deal with something you cannot physically touch. So when you cannot physically grab hold to it, that's when you have to put your arms down and you have to allow him to do it.
Wow. Yeah.
Now you have to really pay attention to what's going on around you outside of the physical aspect of things. Does this make sense?
No, it's making 100% sense.
So when you paying attention and time to like really trying to tell time, you have to actually sit back and stop in time.
Freeze it up.
Stop. The Bible says his ways are not your ways, and your ways is not his ways. His time is not your time, and your time is not his time. So, like to the point what I said, oftentimes we pray for something we don't have the capacity for. So, God will hear your prayer, but he will make you become what you pray for.
100%.
So before you be able to grab hold to this thing, I have to be able to see that you can maintain this thing. You could grow this thing, right? You could break it off, you keep enough, and be able to feed the other people.
Right. I mean, patience is born from being in situations that forced you to become a patient person. Courage is born by putting you in numerous situations where you were fearful and you came out on the other side still alive.
Oh yeah.
So to your point, you want to be the CEO, but you ain't, heavy lies the crown. You ain't ready to deal with the court. You ain't ready to deal with the pressures from being responsible for 1 million lives. You know, so trust the process.
100%. And I like what you were saying about the pain situation, because Mac actually was thinking about the name for the episode, and he said, turning pain into purpose, Sand Spark. You know, so I definitely, it's a beautiful thing how everything, you know, comes full circle.
Facts.
You know,
And I didn't tell you that.
That's crazy. But y'all know what's crazy? That's even how I learned, and it's the sad part, but this is the great part. I've always learned through pain.
100%. We all do. It's the best teacher.
I've never learned through somebody just telling me something. I had to really.
Rarely do we.
Gotta test the
Can
stove.
I be raw real quick?
Please do.
Please.
I had to really fuck up consistently and get tired of myself.
You gotta get to the point. You gotta get to a
agree
breaking
with
point.
that.
You get what I'm
You gotta
saying?
get to a breaking point.
Well, it's to a point you're like, I've had enough.
With me.
Yeah, no, with the decisions that I'm making.
Yeah.
I've had enough with where I'm at because of who I am.
Yeah, 1000%.
You know, and that goes back to the whole smoking thing I was telling you about, right? I was smoking 4 or 5 times a day.
Okay.
Right? And it was taken away from my productivity. But I was thinking that because of the smoke, I was doing better. But it wasn't really that. I was just manipulating
high.
myself
Yeah.
into thinking these things, right?
Yeah.
And it was just making me run away from the problems.
Yeah.
But in reality, it wasn't really benefiting me, right? It was getting to a point that I was getting anxiety.
Yeah.
It was getting to a point that I was smoking, and my hands were shaking. And I'm like, hold on a second, like, this ain't supposed to be like that no more. You know what I mean? And I would keep telling
That
myself,
was God right there.
I'll keep telling myself, I'm gonna quit because I don't want to feel like this anymore. I didn't have enough will to do so, but I knew that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I started praying on it, heavily praying on it. I'll say about like 2 weeks of the praying, heavily praying and being ready for that.
The
is when
appetite change.
Is when I got that dream. Yeah, and when I got that dream, I remember I woke up and I was staying at my brother's house, and his wife, my sister-in-law, she was outside with the baby. I woke up, I was shook, almost like I done seen a ghost.
Wow.
Right? Because I felt like I was there,
Wow.
and it was just something so real. I was like, I knew a change had to be made, but I had to get another voice opinion on it, and I told Stephanie, big shout out Stephanie, I love you so much. I gave her the dream, and I was like, yo, I was in this world. All of a sudden, I went through a window. I was in a different world, and I kept jumping back and forth. But I decided that I wanted to stay in the world where it was sunny, in the world where things were organized, in the world where I was actually winning. And she was like, well, haven't you been praying about finding your way?
This is good.
Haven't you been praying about getting rid of your bad habits? I said, I have been. She was like, well, it's very simple. What's happening? She said, God's talking to you.
That's
Are you gonna listen? or you're not gonna listen. It's up to you. Because your life depends on the actions that you make. You know, God can only do so much for you.
Facts.
At the end of the day, he wants the best for you. He's gonna tell you exactly what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, what you need to hear.
Facts.
But it's up to you to make a movement on it.
Yeah.
When she said that to me, I said, man, you know, I'm Keisha Manrique. I know.
Talk to me nice.
I'm gonna become something great. God has given me too many gifts for me to stunt my growth.
That part.
God has given me too many blessings
That part.
for me not to become the person that I know I could become, which is change the world one day, spread more love and positivity, spread God's name and be able to be something that stands for something great. And for the kids out there, I can be a leader.
Yeah.
Because my dad always told me I could be a leader. It's just up to you to fill them shoes.
Yeah.
So I looked at her, I remember, and that was 4 months ago. And I told her, I said, I'm done smoking weed. I'm done smoking weed. And ever since I quit smoking weed, I've been able to get into a new path. I've been able to be more focused, be more sharp. You know, I was staying over at my brother's house, and I remember at the time, you know, I was like 2-3 weeks of praying about, you know, getting enough strength to be able to get away from not smoking anymore, you know? And that was like the first time that I was really, really putting in motion into why I wanted to do that and why I felt so strong about it. And 2-3 weeks, I'm staying at my brother's house, and I remember I had the dream. And the dream pretty much spoke to me and was like, you know, you have 2 ways of going about the situation. Like I had said before, I remember I woke up and I go over to my sister-in-law, big shout out to Steffi, and I explained to her the dream, and I'm like, man, you know, I had this situation going on, and I got shown these 2 routes that I could take. And, you know, in my eyes, you know, I'm about to be 30 years old. I'm trying to live up to my potential. Not that I'm trying to, I'm living up to my potential. And
on the way, en route.
I want to be the best version of myself possible, and I want to make my parents proud. I want to make God proud.
Yeah.
And I want to do the most that I can in this life to be able to say that, you know, I did what I had to do, and I did it to the ultimate highest, you know, way that I could, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I remember I told her the story, and then she looked at me and she was like, you know, it's very simple what's happening. I understand what's happening. She's like, you know, that's God talking to you and telling you there's 2 routes you could take. Which one do you want to take? Do you want to be in the gloomy one, or do you want to have the glory? You know, and I had told myself that day, I looked at her, I was like, you know, I'm done smoking. I'm done smoking, and ever since I quit the smoking and really started listening to God, really start building my relationship with God, I become a better, happier person, more sharp, more in tune with myself, more confident in who I am and in what I'm saying, because, you know, sometimes you be so high, you're second guessing yourself. You're second guessing what you got going on. You get lazy. You put things on the back pedal. And I needed to stop doing that because I have big things coming for myself. You know, I'm the CEO along with my brother, Shot Down and Mid-Kid, big shout out to my brothers, of what's gonna be a household name, the biggest production company coming out of Tampa Bay, Florida, Trenches Media Group.
Speak it.
And on top of that, you know, I'm running other businesses, and I just need to be on point. I want to make sure I can put my family in a mansion, my mom in a mansion. I want to make sure that I can put charities around the world and be able to do my due diligence of taking care and helping out people that haven't had the same opportunity that I've had of being with a loving mother, a loving father, and great people around me. You know, I've been too blessed to not do the right thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And that's where it was just like, you know, resonating off the story that you have, where it's just like, you have the table, you can see it, but are you ready to get on the table and eat? And it's about making those right decisions and standing on top of business.
Facts.
And giving God the glory to do those things. You know what I mean? So and now we're here. You know, now I'm here. I'm here with my brother, Don Mack, which has been a beautiful story in itself. How we met, how we're coming together doing our thing.
Totally.
And now I have the opportunity. Big shout out to Manny, the composer, my brother, which he was able to help put this together. You know, Manny, I love you like a brother. We appreciate you. He's been able to give us this opportunity of getting with yourself, Mr. Sam Sparks.
Appreciate you, man.
And being able to hear your story and hear your success and how you've been able to break through.
Yeah.
And how God has helped you to get into the position that you're in.
1000%.
It only shows me that we're in the right route.
All
100%.
facts.
You know what I mean? And so it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I want to say I'm proud of you. You know,
you, man. Thank
it takes a lot of willpower to accomplish that. You know, a lot of people, they look at weed like it's just weed, and I've obviously smoked my share of weed myself. But I tell you what, sometimes you got to look at who you aspire to be like and what they have, and ask yourself, what are they doing? Are they doing the same thing that I'm doing? Are they smoking weed every day? 100%. In reality, I promise you, if they really have reached somewhere worth being at, they probably aren't smoking weed like that. I know you might see Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa doing it every day, but nigga, you're not Snoop Dogg or Wiz Khalifa. 1000%.
That's a
and then
fact.
also, one thing that I can speak on when it comes to the weed thing is, you know, on a subconscious level, you'll feel like you don't deserve what it is that you really want, because you know you're not doing what is necessary to actually get there. 100%. So hey, it's cool to be high, but I promise you, you know, I'll tell you a fun fact about smoking weed. You actually don't get REM sleep when you smoke weed. And you can't dream unless you get REM sleep.
Right.
So smoking weed will literally steal your dreams from you.
Yeah, 1000%.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a time and place for everything. If you're in Jamaica or you on a yacht, okay, let's smoke it on something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's chill.
Yeah.
But yo, if you ain't where you want to be, I suggest you get right.
Ain't no
you know
time
what I
for
mean?
that. Ain't no time for that.
And until there's time for that.
Until it's time for
Until there's time for that.
And to my last point before you jump into this, let me say this. You always got to be careful with your appetite. Always be careful with your appetite. And one of the things that God has blessed you to do is to take full control of your appetite. You're able to say no.
Yeah.
You know
which
what I mean?
is a really, really hard thing to do.
1000%.
And not just with, you know, we all have an appetite for a lot of different things.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So
Come on.
you got to be careful, especially when you know, the world is your oyster, and you could have, you know, a buffet of things.
Yeah.
You got to be careful on what you choose to consume.
Yeah.
You know, you can stay out at night if you can afford to, but it's going to cost you.
All 1000%.
Everything come with a cost.
Yeah.
Nothing's free.
Yeah.
So the dream that you have in your mind, I promise you can have it, but nothing comes with a cost.
Yeah.
Good relationship with your family, your friends, and your loved ones comes with a cost. You're gonna have to make those calls. You're gonna have to maintain those relationships. If you wanna have that body, well, guess what? It's gonna come with a cost. You're gonna have to go ahead and put the donuts down, do it. A lot of people don't realize the exercise they need to be working on instead of, you know, it's called backaways. You know what a backaway is?
Yeah, back away from that.
Back away. You know what I'm saying? Shorty make you the motherfucking lasagna and pasta with donuts, donut casserole Sunday at the end. You need to do a back away.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so Sam, we really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, man.
I want to say,
Before you get into, I know we were talking about, you know, the fashion and stuff like that. And the last thing I wanted to touch on was, what's your inspiration? Like, is there anybody you look up to in the fashion world that you could say you've gotten inspired from?
This is gonna sound crazy, but really, suits always attracted me.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't more so about who was wearing the suit, it was how they was wearing the suit. The other part was suit is a culture. It's like a cigar, it's like boat life, it's like golf life.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of culture. So when it came to like fashion or anything like that, I'll even get you to the point like this. I don't dress for the attention of others. I dress so it can intentionally speak for me.
I like that.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm actually the second person that's speaking.
say it.
You get what I mean?
Your presence speaking
My
first.
presence speaks first.
Which speaks more than words.
And then also it eliminates from somebody putting me in the wrong category.
100%.
That's huge.
You know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
So a lot of people look at fashion and experience and fashion and clothes as an art factor. I look at it in the factor of intentionality. It is a definition of my character. So before you even try to address me in any manner, I'm all just presence on how I come in here and by the way that I dress.
Yeah.
You already gonna get your mind together.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the other part is it keeps the BS away from me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So if you don't even, just by how I dress, you gonna know how to either speak or converse, or it's gonna intimidate you not to come to me at all.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Which I'm not intimidating. It's intentionality about a buffer. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not being cocky or conceited or braggadocious, because this is all God's timing. But I'm in the timing of the season of my life that I'm past the giveaways. You get what I'm saying? My charity only gonna come from the charity that I pick.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Love
And I've always asked God in this season, pick where my hands go, not where I touch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I love that.
So
I love that.
that's what fashion is.
Well,
always
no,
been.
thank you. And I know you were telling earlier that you're with Burberry as well, so we gotta make sure we.
Yeah.
Shout out to Burberry.
Shout out to the
Big
Burberry.
shout out to
Shout out to
Burberry.
Burberry.
You know what I'm saying?
Burberry's going crazy.
We got the man in honor here, so that's, but that's great, man. Thank you. And I'm taking that and I'm applying, because everywhere you go, you gotta be up to par.
Oh, 1,000%.
No matter where it is, you gotta be up to par.
1,000%.
I'm gonna make sure Catch Me Little Baby
Yeah.
up to par wherever he go.
Just for the job you want.
Clothes is like your car.
Yeah.
Clothes is like your house.
100%.
You get what I'm saying?
It's an asset.
It's
if
an
you're doing
asset.
if you're being intentional about it.
1,000%.
I promise you're gonna get treated a lot differently getting pulled over in that suit. If you got a tint, you know what I mean? You got some melanin in your skin, I promise. You're gonna get treated a lot different in that suit than you are, with a,
Some
with
shorts
the,
and a
with the
t-shirt.
hoodie on,
Totally. It's like this. Wearing a suit, you automatically gonna call me Mr. Sparks.
Yeah, there you go.
The minute that I speak, you're gonna know I'm Mr. Sparks. You know what I'm saying? There you go.
100%. Well, listen, I know we could do this all day.
1,000.
This conversation has been beneficial, not only to me, to my brother Kesh Mula, but also to our audience. So I want to first and foremost say thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you
what
so
can
much.
we,
Appreciate
there was so much to cover, so much that you're doing that we couldn't cover it all.
Yeah.
But I would like to ask, what can we expect from you? Where can we find you? And how can the people tap in?
I can't give you what to expect. I tell you what's on the table right now.
Okay.
We got the Brew Podcast
Fire.
that my brothers is coming.
Nick Forrest there.
For all the listeners, it's called the Brew Podcast.
Yeah.
And Coffee Shop. Our basics is simple. Structure, kingdom, foundation, transparency, and a tad bit of vulnerability. So it's just basically the same thing we having right now, breaking bread, bro. You know what I mean? I've learned over time, I close major deals over coffee, tea, or golf. Right?
Yeah.
So
I like the golf.
so that's why I created the platform, to be able to have tangible conversation over a great drink.
Yeah,
You get what
fire.
I'm saying? Now, what's in your cup is your business.
Exactly.
But we're going to brew
like
something
that.
over at the brew. You know what I mean?
I like
That's
that.
what we're doing.
I like that. Now, what's in your cup is your business.
That's it.
That's a little tagline. I like that.
Now, the other part is, like I said, we got 50 ways to cut off your hands and your fingers to save your arms. That's the title. The subtitle is Why Make Anything Hard for Yourself? Why make anything impossible for yourself? Just that simple. And then by the grace of God, man, we just got a bunch of brews coming up. Hopefully the Tampa brew coming soon.
That'd be
You know what I
fire.
mean?
Yeah.
That's coming.
Tampa brew coming
So
soon.
the brew is in the Chicago area right now,
Yeah,
right?
so we got 3 locations in the Chicago area, one in O'Hare Airport, one 7101 South Ye Street, if you're from Chicago, and then one at the local market that'll be opening up in the next 60 days.
Fire.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Big blessing. Big congrats.
And then if you can find me on Instagram, that's I am _Sam Sparks.
Fire.
Simple and easy, man.
My brother.
Love my
sure to
brothers.
do that.
Yo, I appreciate y'all. Y'all
Sam.
doing something amazing, bro.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
I
man.
appreciate y'all, bro.
Appreciate you.
No,
God
listen,
bless.
blessing,
listen. Your presence is a blessing.
Same.
Episode 5 is officially in the books.
Crazy.
Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe to the
Exactly.
Mack and Mula Show.
Facts.
We're bringing nothing but powerful identities on this show that can give you guys something to not only learn, but to be inspired by and to be entertained by. So this was in the books. Like again, thank you so much to our brother Sam
I
Sparks.
appreciate you,
Thank you.
man.
It's the Mack and Mula Show.
Another
Thank you.
one.
Appreciate it.
And we'll see you next time.
And another one.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it, fellas.